You think you know the ocean? Think again. What myths hide the deepest truths? For centuries we've told stories about sea monsters and glowing waters, but the reality is way crazier than any myth. We see the surface, the pretty blue part, but 95% of the ocean is a complete mystery. It's a world of crushing pressure, total darkness, and creatures that look like they're straight out of a sci-fi movie. Today we're diving headfirst into that unknown to expose the most insane secrets scientists are just now figuring out. This is Deep Sea Secrets that shock scientists. We're going to spend the next 8 minutes blowing your mind with the truth. The myth of the Kraken is legendary. Gigantic tentacles bursting from the water, wrapping around huge wooden ships and dragging sailors down to a watery grave. For hundreds of years, these stories haunted the high seas, painting a picture of a monstrous, ship-sinking beast with an insatiable appetite for destruction. It's an epic tale of horror, a monster so big it could be mistaken for an island. But like all great myths, the truth is buried deep beneath the surface, waiting to be discovered. The reality isn't a ship destroyer, but it's just as fascinating. Meet the giant squid, Architeuthis dux. This thing is genuinely massive, with some females reaching up to 43 feet long. That's longer than a school bus. But despite its size, there's never been a single confirmed case of a giant squid attacking a ship. Their bodies are actually quite fragile, more gelatinous than muscular, built for the crushing pressures of the deep, not for wrestling with steel hulls on the surface. They are ambush predators, not mindless monsters. So what do they actually do down there? Scientists believe they are solitary hunters lurking in the twilight zone of the ocean, between 660 and 3,300 feet deep, which are covered in sucker rings lined with sharp, chitinous teeth to snatch prey like fish and other squid. They are incredibly elusive. For centuries, the only evidence we had were carcasses washed ashore or sucker scars found on the bodies of their only known predator, the sperm whale. The first ever footage of a live giant squid in its natural habitat wasn't captured until 2012. Think about that. We had walked on the moon decades before we ever saw this giant of our own planet alive and well. This shows just how little we know about the deep sea. The footage revealed a creature that was majestic and cautious, not aggressive. It investigated the submersible's lights with its massive, dinner-plate-sized eyes, the largest in the animal kingdom, before gracefully disappearing back into the abyss. Human encounters are unbelievably rare. Most have been with dying or dead specimens. The few sub-pilots who have seen one alive describe a surreal, almost ghostly experience. The squid moves with an eerie silence, a silent giant navigating a world of darkness. It's a predator, yes, but a highly specialized one adapted to an environment we can barely comprehend. It's not looking for a fight with us on the surface, it's just trying to survive in its own alien world, far below. So, the Kraken isn't a ship sinker, but a master of the deep's shadows. It's a shy, mysterious giant that we are only just beginning to understand. The myth was born from fear of the unknown. When you hear about glowing seas, your mind probably jumps to a fairy tale. You imagine a magical shimmering ocean, a fantasy world lit by supernatural forces, maybe something out of the movie Avatar, but that couldn't be further from the truth. This isn't decoration, it's a battlefield. The reality is bioluminescence, not magic, but chemistry. A cold light produced by a molecule called luciferin. In the pitch-black midnight zone, 90% of creatures make their own light. It's the dominant form of communication and survival. Whole ecosystems are built around glowing. Why do they do it? For brutally practical reasons. Some use it to hunt. Anglerfish use a glowing lure to attract prey. Others use it to find mates, flashing specific patterns. It's a secret code in the dark. Then there's defense. Some squid and shrimp spew glowing clouds to escape. Others use a burglar alarm, lighting up when caught to draw bigger predators. Imagine floating through this world. It's not a gentle glow. It's a dynamic, changing landscape of light. Bursts of blue from startled jellyfish, strange green pulses from comb jellies, and the singular light of a hunting predator. Like a city at night, every light tells a story of life, death, a search for food, or a desperate escape. This is nature's neon, built for survival. Light as weapon, light as shield, light as mating call, light as hunting tool. The glowing beauty is a side effect of a chemical arms race, infinitely more epic than the fairy tale. Plants use photosynthesis, herbivores eat plants, carnivores eat herbivores. So the myth was that the deep ocean, a place with absolutely zero sunlight, must be a barren, lifeless desert. Then, in 1977, scientists in a submersible named Alvin were exploring the Galapagos Rift and stumbled upon something that completely shattered that rule. They found towering chimney-like structures spewing superheated black mineral-rich water. These were hydrothermal vents, essentially underwater volcanoes, and clustered around them, in water hot enough to melt lead, was a teeming, thriving ecosystem unlike anything ever seen before. The desert was an oasis. The life here wasn't based on photosynthesis. It was based on chemosynthesis. Instead of using sunlight for energy, the bacteria at the base of this food chain were using toxic chemicals from the vents, like hydrogen sulfide, a gas that smells like rotten eggs and is poisonous to us. These bacteria were converting the Earth's raw chemical energy into life, forming thick mats that covered the rocks. They were the plants of this deep-sea world, and the animals that lived there were truly alien-like. Giant tube worms, some over 8 feet tall with bright red plumes and no mouth or digestive system. They survived solely on a symbiotic relationship with the chemosynthetic bacteria living inside their bodies. There were ghostly white crabs, strange fish, mussels, and shrimp, all adapted to the crushing pressure, extreme temperatures, and toxic water. The Mariana Trench. The name alone conjures up images of a terrifying, bottomless abyss. The myth is that it's an endless chasm leading to the center of the Earth, a place so deep and so dark. Megalodons, giant sea serpents, Cthulhu himself. It's portrayed as a place of pure horror, fundamentally unknowable and actively hostile. The reality is, in some ways, even more extreme, but not in the way the myths suggest. It isn't bottomless. Its deepest point, the Challenger Deep, is nearly 7 miles, 11,000 meters, down. Put Mount Everest in the trench. Its peak would still be over a mile underwater. The pressure there is over 1,000 times that at the surface. That's the equivalent of 50 jumbo jets stacked on top of you. This pressure, not some fictional monster, is the real barrier. Exploring the trench is an incredible technological challenge. Only a handful of missions had reached the bottom until recently. Some were unmanned. Only 2 manned missions had reached it before James Cameron's famous 2012 dive. James Cameron's dive. Submersibles must be built like tanks, with incredibly thick hulls to withstand being crushed. Every dive is a high-risk venture pushing the limits of engineering. So what have we found down there? Not sea monsters. Life, adapted to survive the impossible. Scientists discovered single-celled foraminifera that build shells from organic material. Strange, translucent snailfish, shrimp-like amphipods, marine snow, organic debris drifting down from the surface. Recent discoveries were even more surprising. Landers recorded high microbial activity in the sediment. These organisms have unique adaptations, proteins and cell membranes that function under crushing pressure. They aren't just surviving, they're specialists of the extreme deep. Lost cities, under the sea. The legend of Atlantis is the ultimate example, a tale of a magnificent, advanced civilization swallowed by the waves, its golden towers now resting silently on the ocean floor, waiting to be rediscovered. This myth taps into our romantic desire for grand, lost worlds and hidden treasures. We imagine perfectly preserved cities, silent and majestic, holding the secrets of a forgotten age. It's a beautiful and captivating story of tragic loss. The reality, while less about golden cities, is a fascinating story of transformation and rebirth. When a ship sinks, it doesn't just become a piece of junk on the seafloor, it becomes an artificial reef. In the vast, often flat, and featureless expanse of the ocean floor, a shipwreck provides something crucial: structure. It's a solid surface where marine life can attach and grow, a complex habitat where animals can hide, hunt, breed. The process begins almost immediately. Within hours, a thin film of bacteria covers the wreck. Then, organisms like algae, barnacles, and corals start to colonize the hull. These pioneers create a foundation for a more complex community. They provide food and shelter for small fish and invertebrates, which in turn attract larger predators. Over decades, a sunken hunk of metal transforms into a bustling, multi-level metropolis of marine life. Each wreck is unique by location, depth, and materials. Deep water wrecks, like the Titanic, host metal-eating bacteria that form rusticles, which look like rusty icicles hanging off the hull. These bacteria recycle iron back into the marine environment. Beyond ecology, Shipwrecks are time capsules, preserving cargo, personal belongings, and construction to reveal trade, technology, and daily life. Legends of the deep are full of two things: impossibly large monsters, eerie, ghostly noises. Sailors told tales of sea serpents, miles-long crabs the size of islands. They also spoke of strange songs, whistles, moans coming from the depths, attributing them to mermaids, sirens, the groans of sunken ships. These myths speak to our deepest fears of the unknown, that something huge and something unexplainable is lurking just out of sight. The monster myth has a surprising kernel of truth in a phenomenon called deep-sea gigantism. For reasons not fully understood, many deep-sea invertebrate and crustacean species grow far larger than their shallow-water relatives. The giant isopod looks like a backyard woodlouse, but it can grow up to 2.5 feet long. We also see this with the Japanese spider crab, which can have a leg span of up to 12 feet, making it the largest arthropod in the world, and the colossal squid is even heavier than the giant squid. Why does this happen? Theories include extreme pressure, scarce food leading to delayed maturity and longer lifespans, and cold temperatures slowing metabolism. As for the ghostly noises, science has found a real-world equivalent that is just as mysterious. So, what did we learn today? We learned that the ocean is more insane than any myth we could ever come up with. Giant squid, glowing jellyfish, hydrothermal vents, Mariana Trench, shipwreck, giant isopod, the bloop spectrogram. We busted the myth of the Kraken, and found a real-life giant squid that's more elusive and mysterious than any legend. We traded fairy tale glowing seas for a brutal world of chemical warfare fought with light. We discovered entire ecosystems that don't need the sun, and life that thrives under pressure that would crush a tank. The truth is literally stranger than fiction. I could spend $1 billion exploring the deep sea and we'd still barely scratch the surface. And that's the craziest part. We've only explored about 5% of our own ocean. 95% is still a complete mystery. There could be thousands of new species, new ecosystems, and scientific discoveries down there that could change the world. What you just saw is a tiny glimpse of what's hiding in the dark. It's the last true frontier on our own planet. If you thought this was as insane as I did, hit that subscribe button, because we are always diving into the craziest topics on Earth. And for my next video, I'm going to find the top 5 most unexplained mysteries caught on camera, and you guys are going to vote on which one is the most believable. Next video. Top 5 Unexplained Mysteries Caught on Camera. You don't want to miss it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.